my friends, and welcome to the Godfather Chronicles podcast. My name is Miguel Garcia, and I am your host. If you find value in the podcast, please share it with your family, friends, and make sure you give us a rating. I think we're giving you a lot of value, and the least you could do is pass it on to people and give us a rating. You can follow me on Instagram at MAGPatriot, Facebook Miguel Godfather, or email me your questions at godfatherchronicles.com. This podcast is sponsored by naturalchoicecompany.com. Unlock your health. My friends, we're in episode 22, and this was supposed to be number 6 on the Godfather Success Essentials series, but I already did a podcast on controlling the things you can control. And so I'm going to skip that because you could always go back to episode 12 and listen to the full podcast on controlling the things you can control. I'm going to give you a quick summary on that. And basically, we need to focus on the things that we can control. And we have to let go of the things that we can't control. It's as simple as it sounds. The things that we can control can be broken into 4 words. You can control your actions, your reactions, your attitude, and your effort. You would always have control of those things. So when a situation arises, or a problem, or an issue, you have the power to control the things you can control: your actions, reactions, attitude, and effort. So go back to episode 12 and please listen to that. Again, it's a really important piece of the Godfather Success Essentials series, this episode of controlling the things you can control. I'm going to do the 7th step on the series, and this is as important as the other ones because in order for you guys, for all of us, for anybody to grow into a better person, if we don't know how to do it, then we should find a role model that has the qualities, it has it represents the things we want to achieve. So on this episode, we're going to talk about how to pick your role models for your life, your business, and for your spiritual being. A lot of folks only focus on business. I know a lot of very successful people that have lost their families because they focus so much on business. I know a lot of folks that, have a great business career, they have an okay family, but they don't pay attention to the spiritual. The spiritual is very important because God is almighty, God is all powerful, and as such, God could change your situation real quick. God's no stranger to miracles. It's happened to me several times where I think I'm not going to make it or something is not going to happen, and it happens. I could tell you stories about that, but this is not the time. Well, I'll give you a quick one right away. One time we were running our business, and my CFO came out and he called me and the other business partner and said, "Hey guys, we're not going to make payroll this weekend." It was Tuesday, and I think we had to get $70,000 by Friday. And we were deep in debt. The bank wouldn't lend us any money or anything like that. And we were just like, well, what are we going to do? And he's like, well, start thinking about liquidating your stuff. Whatever you could liquidate before Friday. And to be honest with you, I mean, I had no assets to liquidate. I had a $3,000 or $4,000 piano, but I knew I wasn't going to sell it in 3 days. And so he's like, if we don't do this, we're just going to go under. I said, okay, great. So went back into the office. I said a prayer. Actually, I asked my son, the 7-year-old that passed away because he had cancer. I asked him, I said, hey, help me out. I really need some help. So I sat down. Phone rings. Is this sergeant from the military, and he is in charge of an entire brigade. And a brigade is about 3,000 soldiers, more or less. And he said, hey, I need some lanyards. Can you give me a quote? And I said to him, okay, are you going to shop around, or what are you going to do? Are you ready to go, or what? He goes, no, I'm ready to go. You give me a quote. If I like it, we'll just do business. I said, cool. So I gave him a quote. He came out to $75,000. And he said, done. And he said, look, I need to pay for it right away. I have a credit card that you could charge $25,000 a day. So for the next 3 days, starting now, charge $25,000. I mean, that's not a coincidence. That is not a coincidence. I mean, God just took care of me right there on the spot. So, I closed the order and got the credit card number. I went to the CFO and I said, hey, guess what? I summoned my other partner and I said, guess what? How much money do we need? And they're like, well, we need $70,000 and $800 or whatever, something like that. Anyhow, so I said, hey, I just got an order for $75,000. And they're like, no way. I'm like, yep, just got it now. And the sergeant wants us to charge his car for the next 3 days, $25,000. It's unbelievable. Anyway, I'm telling you this story because when you are in good terms with God, God is super generous and He will take care of you. We can never outdo God in generosity. So that's why my success stool is got the three legs. It's got God, my family, and my business. And if I add another leg to the stool, it'd be my country. And it's imperative that you guys, those of you that are trying to make up your mind of what you want to do when you grow up, that kind of stuff, that you start figuring out what your goals are. What is it that you believe in? And again, once you figure that out, you got to pick a model for each part of your life. You got to pick a role model for each and every part of your life. For example, if you're in business, you got to pick a role model that is really good at business, something close to what you do. If you're married, husband or wife, you have to find somebody that is a great husband or wife. And in the spiritual, you got to look for somebody who loves God and start emulating those people. It sounds kind of easy, but that's how we learn. As a parent, people say, well, you don't have a manual. The children don't come with a manual. Well, they don't. You're right. But I've seen great parenting. I've seen bad parenting. So I could emulate the good parenting. Same thing with the businessman. I'm in the Artist Syndicate, and great businessmen there, very sharp, amazing group of people, and that's why I'm there. And on the spiritual, I think I'm doing pretty good. I've been a fan of God for a long time, and He's taking care of me. So, role models are important. They help us become the person we want to be and inspire us to make a difference. And choosing wisely means that we will be positively influenced and encouraged to be the best person possible. Bad role models are helpful as well because we get to see the results of their poor decisions. For example, my dad used to tell me, hey, look at the lives of people and see how they're doing and decide if they're good for you, as friends or whatever. So, if you see a person who's doing drugs, abusing drugs or alcohol or anything like that, then you're going to see the results. And now you have to make a choice. Do you want to be like them or not? So you learn from good role models and you also learn from bad role models. And so, from business, there's a lot of unethical people out there that whatever it takes, that's their mantra. Whatever it takes. It doesn't matter if it's ethical or unethical or whatever, they just do it. They lie, cheat, and steal. So you got to look at those things and go, does that fit what I want to do? Does that fit where, the model I want to I want to use? So you have to ask yourself questions before you select the role model. Like, what do you want to accomplish? Again, if you're a businessman, if you want to have a successful company, then you would have to find somebody that is killing it out there and study them. When I was building my Faith or Six business or whatever, I started reading a lot of biographies, and I read Steve Jobs, and that impressed me quite a bit. I didn't like his personality too much because he seemed to be an asshole, but his passion, his drive, his commitment to the business was what attracted me. As a matter of fact, I designed the building when we had to build a new headquarters. I designed it based on his concept of open offices. So a lot of the offices in our building didn't have doors. And the C-suite, we would share a corner office, all three of us, the three partners, because I wanted everybody to listen to each other's conversations. And if you had something to add, you could do that. Or I didn't have to repeat myself. I would say to the guys, hey guys, I'm going to be on a phone call. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to work on this deal. I want you to listen. And so, I get on the phone and they listen. If they have questions or there were issues, they will write me a little note, slip it and say, hey, you're forgetting this or whatever. So it just worked out pretty good. So what do you want to accomplish? Who do you want to become? Who do you want to become? Most of us would say, I want to become a great person. A great man, a great woman, a great husband, a great wife, just a great person. So start thinking in those terms. What is it that you want from you? What do you want to become? In order to become a well-rounded individual, you have to select more than one role model. Like I told you, they're great businessmen, poor humans, or great humans, but poor businessmen. Same with the relationships and faith. Unless you can find the perfect, well-rounded role model, you might have to pick more than one. And that's what I'm suggesting. I have killer business role models, but some of them are not really good husbands or they don't have a relationship with God. I'm just telling you guys the truth. And so their business skills really impress me, but I don't want to be like them in the other two areas of life. Choosing the right role model is very important, obviously. It needs to be someone that can help you become the best version of yourself. again, getting back to the being a great human, being a great husband or wife. I mean, you have to look at people that have solid marriages and how do they talk to each other. If you want to have a great marriage, just talk to them, ask questions, ask them if they could mentor you. That's the easiest thing. If you know them, then you could ask them, hey, do you mind if I ask you some questions? And you could ask them, how do you handle conflict with your wife or your husband? How do you handle, misunderstandings? How do you handle this? How do you handle that? And then just start learning. Again, they could give you guidance and advice and offer real world examples on how to achieve the things you want to achieve. You got to be careful in choosing somebody who's different than you, because we're all tempted to choose a certain role model because we see something of ourselves in them. But this could be a double-edged sword, because if you're making mistakes and you're attracted to that type of personality, your mistakes might get greater, or you might not be able to fix what's wrong with you because you admire those qualities. So you just got to choose somebody who's different than you and is killing it on whatever facet that you want to improve on. There's there's a lot of stuff in the internet, and there's a lot of influencers. They fake it. I mean, you guys know there's a lot of these guys on Instagram. They just put the good stuff out. They're not good role models. They're lying. I mean, look at all those TV people, so-called celebrities. They airbrush their pictures. I mean, how fake is that? And now, you got young people trying to be those guys or those gals. And you can't have a perfect body, a flawless body. It is very, very hard. And then these people airbrush all their defects. And they have the audacity to flaunt their fake pictures. So the guys that are, they're buying a car or whatever, or they rent a car just to get some pictures. And you just got to be careful. I mean, you got to be able to discern who's legit and who's not. I mean, you got to dig in. You got to do a little bit of homework. And, just you learn about their successes and failures. Don't just take it for face value. Oh, this guy, he's this and that, and he's sharp. Oh, wow, he's got some great pictures on Instagram and all that stuff. You don't even know. They're showing half of their success, but you haven't seen any of the failures. So it's important to learn about both the successes and failures of your role models. Sometimes learning about the failures of your role model can actually encourage you and motivate you more than learning about their successes. So, it's like by learning about their failures, you can realize that, they're human and they will make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them and keep improving yourself. Again, I'd rather not learn from people that I consider fake. I try to find genuine people. I think one of the things that attracted me to the syndicate was Andy Frisella. He's very down to earth. His family's down to earth. There wasn't. When I started, I didn't pick up anything that was fake. Very legit, very genuine, very honest, brutally honest. And so I'm sort of that way as well, and so that really attracted me. And then he's passion for business. I learned a lot. I learned about core values. It made me realize that I had a lot of gas in my tank still, and that I was, I was throwing the towel early, because I wanted to retire and just be, I guess, happy and not be challenged like I am right now. I had a rough day today, people. It was hard. Today was the first day we did our first official formula for our towelettes, and nothing went as planned, just to tell you that. And I had planned this for weeks. And there were some little issues with equipment. There were some issues with the way they shipped the formula. There were issues with with people and all sorts of things. So anyway, I'm enjoying the ride. I'm glad that I'm doing what I'm doing. And I love the fact that I'm getting it done. But getting back to the point, it's important to have the role models, but you also have to develop your own style. While it's good to emulate a role model, it is also important to retain who you are. Don't lose yourself in the attempt to follow the example of your role model. I know some people that have role models that they try to copy every single thing. Every single thing. It's just like a copycat. And they seem out of character because they're not the role model. They're not. So don't go that far. You don't want to be a copy of that person. You just want to, cherry pick their top qualities, figure out how they're doing it, and that's it. But let yourself be yourself. It's interesting. I'm thinking about a person right now, and I can't say their names, but anyway, just weird stuff, man. Just adopt the characteristics you would like to improve on, while keeping the rest of you. Okay, don't try to be somebody else. Just look at at their gifts and learn from that. Don't become them, because they have other issues. None of us are perfect. I am not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I have a lot of issues, and I do have role models. But over the years, I've gotten, I've improved my skills on a lot of the areas. And I'm brutally honest with me. If I'm having a problem, I will admit it right away. And then I go, okay, who's doing it better than me? And I figure it out. Okay, so-so is doing this better than me. Okay, I'm going to study them. I'm going to figure out what is it that they're doing that I am not doing. That's the whole point of having a role model. I think that this is, I'm hoping that this is simple enough for you guys to understand what I'm trying to tell you. If you want to improve fast, then find a role model and emulate their gifts. If they're not accessible by their book and read it and apply the concepts there, or follow them on social media and take notes. A lot of folks, they want to learn things and they just watch and listen and they think they got it and it goes away. They forget it. If you write it down, you don't have to write every single word down. You have to write down the things that have the most impact, the things that are going to impact your life the most, you have to write them down and then, have them as reminders. I use my calendar really well like that. I put myself little reminders. Hey, watch this, watch that. I'll put little codes that I only understand, and when it pops up, I know, okay, I need to watch what I'm doing here. Anyway, you need to, there's another way of thinking about changing your kind of your traits, your personality, or improving them, and they call it that alter ego. I don't know that works really well for everybody, but like Charlie Rocket, he was Charlie's CEO, and he would go to school with his little briefcase and things like that, and he would take the personality of a CEO. I've done that because if I'm going to a huge meeting, like I was going to a meeting with a company that they're about $8 billion in revenue, and I was going to have like all these top executives, and I had to do a presentation. And I tell you what, I was pretty nervous about the whole thing. And so I started getting into my head and going, okay, who are you? And I'm like, well, I'm the CEO. Okay, cool. You're the CEO, man. You know your business. They don't know your business. So I, sort of coach myself, and I go, okay, you're going to walk in there with the air of a CEO. And, I got more confident, and I was able to catch myself when I was trying to feel intimidated. I'm going, no, Miguel, you're the CEO. You know your stuff. They just want to know that you know your stuff. And so that I'm not sure that is considered an alter ego, but you're taking another personality. You're playing a character. I think playing a character is better than alter ego, because ego eventually is ego. So you could play a role model. You could become this character in for certain situations. Sometimes I have to become a character when I need to listen to people that I don't want to listen to. I'm like, Miguel, you're a great listener. Pay attention and try to pick up the words that you need to pick up so that you could give them good feedback. And, that's another way of doing things. Anyway, I think that hopefully you got the point. It is important to have role models and to try to emulate them, and specifically just pick up those golden nuggets that they have to offer and study them and apply them to your life. And again, I would suggest you don't idolize one person. Don't idolize anybody, but you don't go. I know, and I'm telling you this because there's some people out there they just love this one person, and they think that person is perfect, or they love the business part of that person so much that they forego everything else. If you want to be whole, if you want to be complete, if you want to have success in every area of your life, then pick several role models for those areas of your lives. And learn from them. Again, if you have access to them, ask them if they would listen to you or have questions or things like that. Ask them questions. There's a lot of guys out there that are really, really, really busy, and I would just follow them on Instagram or whatever. Shoot them a DM once in a while and see if they respond if you have something specific. Otherwise, just watch and learn. All right, my friends. So Winners know what it takes to succeed, and adopting their habits can help you do the same thing. So adopt those habits. If you found value in the podcast, share with your family and friends and give us a rating. You can follow me on Instagram at MAGPatriot, Facebook, Miguel Godfather, or email me your questions at miguel@godfatherchronicles.com. Again, this podcast is sponsored by naturalchoicecompany.com. Unlock your health. Guys, thank you very much. I hope you have an awesome week. And I pray to God that He keeps on blessing you. And He gives you wisdom more than anything. I pray that God gives you wisdom, because wisdom will help you make the right decisions all the time. God bless. Take care. Bye.